Closing arguments in the matter against the Western Cape Judge President John Hlope will be heard today. Constitutional Court Justices Bess, Nkabinde and Jafta say Hlope tried to influence them in a matter about the former President Jacob Zuma, but Hlope says he was misunderstood. eNCA reporter Mangoba Mkunu tracking that story for us, joining us now live from the venue of the hearing that is going on by the Judicial Conduct Tribunal. Mangoba, this is the second time this week that the tribunal is meeting on this matter. They met earlier this week. Just remind our viewers first, before we talk about what we should expect today, what happened the previous occasion when this matter was being heard?
Well, but then we've certainly heard from both sides about what it is that they say is they did in particular with regards to this particular matter. So we heard from President John Hlope on Tuesday saying that he denies that he tried to improperly influence the two justices of the Constitutional Court. He have admitted, but then, to meeting the two justices, firstly on the 28th of May. That's where he met Justice Jafta and raised the issue of the former President Jacob Zuma. And of course, he also admits to the fact that he met with Justice Nkabinde on the 25th of April. And that's where also he raised the issue of the former president. And of course, the allegation here, Britain, and what is in question here is whether or not Judge John Hlope did try to influence those judges to rule in favor of the former President Jacob Zuma in the matter involving the arms deal. And of course, the allegation is that by speaking to them on this particular issue in 2008, he had tried and attempted to improperly influence their decision. And of course, these were the two justices that were involved in a particular clause within that issue of the appeal that was before the Constitutional Court looking at professional privilege. It was a crucial decision that was going to likely rule in favor or against Jacob Zuma. So he has admitted to meeting the two justices, but says that there was nothing untoward about the meeting. And the fact that he did raise the issue of professional privilege, he was just speaking as a judge. And judges do this all the time. They raise issues of jurisprudence, they raise issues of law all the time. They talk about their cases to each other. So there was nothing really untoward. He says, in fact, he did not try to influence them, because if he had tried to influence them, he should then have known what their position was, what it is that they were going to, the stand they were going to take with regards to the issue that they'd been tasked to decide on by the Constitutional Court. And in terms of the Zuma issue, so he agrees that he did raise the Zuma issue with both these judges. But of course, he says that that also didn't mean that he was influencing them. In fact, the fact that Justice Nkabinde had stopped him, shows that there was no attempt at all for him to try and influence the two Constitutional Court judges. We also heard from the two Constitutional Court judges themselves, Justice Jafta saying that, in fact, he was not a complainant in this matter. And it says that he denies the fact that at the time when Judge Hlope had approached him, he had tried to influence him. He says that he only sort of made the inference after speaking to Justice Nkabinde in April, where she also relayed the fact that Judge Hlope had also spoken to her about the issue concerning the President Jacob Zuma. But that's where the term comes in, but then the Zulu term, which says "sesitembeleke nina." As Zulus, we know, of course, it was Zulu asitoligo, which means you cannot translate Zulu. But in this particular matter, but then it had to be translated, because that phrase came into question as to whether it meant at all that the Justice Hlope was saying to Justice Jafta that he was relaying his hope that they will make the situation right in terms of a positive decision on President Jacob Zuma, or did he mean that he had faith in the Constitutional Court as their last hope to actually ensure that they uphold the law? So the issue, we saw a language expert, of course, being called earlier on to verify this issue, and he seems to support the fact that, in fact, Justice Hlope was just relaying his faith in the Constitutional Court. And that's what also we heard from Justice Jafta, who says that at the time when he spoke to Judge Hlope, that's the sense that he had gotten himself. But Justice Nkabinde, on the other hand, saying that there was an attempt to influence her in that decision. In fact, she says when Judge Hlope raised the issue with her in April, she actually snapped and told him that this was improper. He was not a judge of this court, and therefore he should refrain from raising issues. That's the arguments we've heard so far with regards to this matter.
So what do we, very briefly, Mangoba, we're heading to this day. What do we expect to take place today?
Well, we're expecting those closing arguments today, Brother, and of course we're expecting the evidence leaders as well as the lawyers representing the Constitutional Court judges to argue that, in fact, there is a case to be made that Judge Hlope did try to improperly influence these judges to rule in favor of the former President Jacob Zuma on that case. And in fact, they are going to argue, we expect that he did breach the judicial code by raising these issues with them when he met them in 2008, and that he undermined the independence and the integrity of the judiciary, and therefore he should be found guilty of misconduct. And of course, we do expect Judge John Hlope to say that there is no case, and that in fact this whole matter, should not have been brought here in the first place, given the fact that these two judges had previously indicated that they did not want to actually lay a complaint with the Judicial Services Commission, and that in fact they were pushed to do so, possibly by their superiors, given the fact that there was a meeting in 2008 on the 28th of May that sort of resolved that this matter was going to be taken before the Judicial Services Commission. And this is despite the fact that previously these two judges had indicated that they didn't want to take this matter further. So his arguments are to the effect that there was a likely push on these Constitutional Court judges to actually take this matter forward, and therefore he's going to argue that, he was just simply raising issues of law. There was no influence at all when he did speak to them in those meetings.
Thank you very much, Mangoba Mkhunula. Wait, what's going to happen there on this day as that hearing continues.